Greetings, geeks and nerds and the universe, and I'm White and Nerdy. Now, in case for a lot of you that probably don't know, or a lot of people actually really don't know, is that one of my favorite all-time superheroes is actually Superman. Well, sure, yes, that my favorite of all-time superhero is Spider-Man. My favorite superhero growing up for the longest time, actually, close encounter with both two Spider-Man was actually Superman. In fact, Spider-Man was second to Superman for the longest time when I was growing up. I really enjoyed the Superman character. He had some great incarnations from the legendary Christopher Reeves to the immortal Tim Daly and George Newbern. But there exists a series that we're going to be taking a look at today that I think really didn't capture the true meaning of Superman and also the true heart and soul of Superman, with one of the greatest actors that did portray him in the years to come. So we're gonna talk today about this series that existed in the 90s, 80s, whatever that it came out. I don't really remember. But we're gonna take a look at this Immortal series and see why a lot of people like it. And it's just the first season. We don't actually own the rest of the season. But welcome, geeks and nerds, to my review of the Immortal Superman series known as Yes, sir, we are taking a look at the very first season of Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman. Now, I would think, but I'm going to wait until like it goes up on DVD or whatever, but I really do want to review My Adventures with Superman, which is kind of feels like this series does. Unfortunately, I don't feel like waking up. I know it kind of is on a hiatus right now, but I don't feel like waking up every single early morning at 12 or 12:30 just to watch it. No offense. Other people have the time to do that. I do not. So this was a series that was released. Released when? I don't know. But this is just the first season that I own of the series, and actually I found this in one of my thrift stores that is no longer around in my town anymore. And I picked this up for think $5 for this, which is actually the entire first season. And it has quite an all-star cast in it too, with quite some awesome guest stars that would appear in between the series. So, while my favorite incarnation of Superman is actually Christopher Reeves and also Tim Daly and George Newbern for the character, does Dean Cain measure up to the amount of Superman? Well, let's find out. Let's glance over and review and also retrospect the amazing series that is Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman. Well, this wasn't actually in the plan. I mean, it was in the plan to review this month. But the first video that I wanted to do this month was Power Rangers Zeo. And because YouTube, for some weird reason, will not stop copyrighting that video and claiming that I steal ideas from other YouTubers, when I asked on Twitter why this one got copyrighted, that's what they told me. Was that I stole an idea from other YouTubers. YouTube, come here. You do realize that every single one of my videos is 110% my own ideas. While yes, sometimes I take inspiration from other YouTubers for videos, I don't straight up kill the other YouTuber and just steal their copyrights or steal their video ideas or just steal their videos for my own. Yeah, ever since the Sniper Wolf and Jet films controversy, smaller YouTubers like myself and others are having a tough time here on the website because of them. Quite frankly, I personally am getting sick of it because this has been a good year for me doing YouTube until this moment. But in rant over, let's talk about the amazing world of Superman. But I'd like to point out one thing really quick before getting into this review. In case you're wondering if Superman's all-star, I guess you would say supporting evil villains are in this movie, I'm sad to say that they are not. Yeah, you heard right. There is no other character that appeared from Superman's history, so there is no Bizarro. There is none of the immortal Brainiac that appears throughout this series, I'm sorry to say for Brainiac fans like myself. Well, it would be awesome to see. There is no Doomsday involved in this series. Again, that would be awesome, but nope, no Doomsday in the series. While it would have been awesome, there is no General Zod that appears in this Superman series. There is no General Zod. There certainly is no Lobo. Well, that would be awesome to have in this series. But however, there is Lois Lane, so we have that going for us. There also is no Metallo that exists in this series, so that's depressing. And also, the most depressing, there is no Mr. Mitchell-Picklix. Nope, Mitchell-Picklix is not in this series. So with this series just mostly being about the immortal Superman and none of his supporting characters, which thank you DC Comics Ultimate Character Guide for helping me with that. I like having this actually. That means that there is no Superman supporting character, so this series is mostly Superman involved. Well, there is some villains, but kind of similar. But I like to think that kind of similar to the 66 Batman, where in that series they had to create new villains, that this series did have to do the same thing. The only villain that they got involved in this was just Lex Luthor, but even he, and as amazing as John Shea is in the role, but amazing as that is that even Lex Luthor in this kind of feels a little left down. I mean, John Shea is an amazing actor. He's an amazing Lex Luthor, but it kind of feels like that he should have went in the Clancy Brown Superman territory, where he could be looking at Superman going, "So, Superman, I'm going to challenge you to do all these things for me because I can, because I'm an evil maniacal bastard." And yeah, he doesn't do that. But let's talk about this series in total. So the first episode definitely captures your attention with wanting you to know everything about the world of Superman and introducing Superman after they introduce Lois Lane of all things, and Superman does some pretty small job. The unfortunate part is that even though Superman's trying to do his best to find a job in this brand new city that he's involved in, nobody wants to hire him. Nobody wants him around the city. Of course, while this comparison could be made for Spider-Man, it is awesome to see this comparison of Spider-Man with Superman, with Superman having to suffer usually what Spider-Man suffers. But this series really does excel with one great saying behind this series, and that is the chemistry between Terry Hatcher and Dean Cain, our main characters throughout this entire series. Dean Cain and Terry Hatcher have such a likable chemistry. The two of them are just so great to have on scene together, and I'll talk about my personal opinions on the Dean Cain Superman towards the end of this video, but I really do like the chemistry between Lois Lane um, and also Dean Cain as Superman. They feel just so great and wonderful together. In fact, it does kind of remind me of the Superman and the Lois Lane in My Adventure with Superman, but even more so, it reminds me a lot of Christopher Daniel Barnes' Spider-Man series, that where they both kind of have this like very good chemistry when they're with each other on the screen that makes it even likable. In fact, you can even compare it to my favorite Spider-Man series of all time, Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, with how Peter can interact with Firestar, and you really do get that kind of chemistry involved here, and it's just something great that they both have. Now, I talked about the chemistry the last time with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and also The Legend of Korra, but these two really do have such a great chemistry on screen together that really excels in a lot of episodes. And yes, well, this mostly is playing on the romantic side of the Lois and Clark saying this series is kind of not for kids. There are so many sexual innuendos. I'm not gonna play them all for you, but there are so many sexual innuendos. And in the episode My Darling Pheromone or something, or Pheromone My Darling, is kind of a reference to Poison Ivy, because there is a woman in that episode who makes a pheromone with plants and animal stuff or whatever, and it makes people horny. There's an episode in My Superman where I'm watching Lois Lane get horny for Clark Kent. I don't want to see that in my Superman series. Who bright idea was it? It's a tremendous idea, and it's also something like, can Superman really fight the people that he come to know and love? Like, I like that idea, just kind of similar to Batman when Poison Ivy uses his friends against him when she uses her pheromones on him. But why, in the love of God, instead of getting lovable, does it make them horny?
Please go home. You're here. This is my home. Lois, you don't know how many times I thought about this.
Oh, Clark, where have you been, my darling?
Lois, come with me. We have to talk.
Oh, yes, we do.
Yeah, the less said about that, the better. But this series does have some pretty great episodes that was involved throughout the entire series, which honestly, a lot of them I could highlight here. I said I would, I just don't have the time to, but let me just tell you that there are some great episodes in the original first season that I could highlight for a lot of people. Because a lot of these episodes are just terrifically written. It had a great cast working on it of writers that can just bring out a very great story for everyone to enjoy. Not to mention, this series is also very emotional too. It has a lot of emotional episodes that really does work for it, and I think that makes it work for the better in of a total. So yeah, there are a lot of episodes that are really just great and capturing what everything that they wanted to about the hero of Superman and giving them some pretty cool challenges to complete. Like for example, Superman trying to help a witness that is gonna basically be killed or arrested in a murder. Sound familiar to the animated series episode that I covered? How about an episode where Superman had to face off against an evil magician? Yes, I know the evil magician is kind of weird, but he faces off against an evil magician. No, I don't know why Pennzilla plays an evil magician. He's not really, but Pennzilla's cameos in an episode, so that's pretty awesome, isn't it? But yeah, how about an episode where Superman has to save people from being hypnotized and also disappearing because of a magician that wants to use them for reasons? How about an episode that has to deal with roommates? Yeah, there's an episode that actually had to deal with a roommate where Jonathan teams up with Clark and Lois help get a serial killer. Think that's weird? How about an episode that has a cameo from goddamn frickin' legendary sports star Bull fucking Jackson? What stranger? How about an episode where Superman goes and works for Dean Stockwell from frickin' Quantum Leap fame as Al and works with him? Oh, I didn't stutter. Dean fucking Stockwell plays a villain in this. The only surprising part is he plays a really damn good villain. Want weirder? How about an episode where Superman has a clone that was made by Lex Luthor? But it's not Doomsday or Superboy. The weirder, the better. I really could go on and on, including that there was a cameo. I think he's in a later season, but there's a cameo from the legendary, majestically voiced. I mean, this man has a fucking god type of voice, and that is James Earl Jones, who shows up at the ending of the series. So everybody does a pretty great job. I love Terry Hatcher and Lois Lane. I think that she captures her character and personality quite wonderfully. I love John Shea as Lex Luthor. Well, of course, he's not Clancy Brown, for God's sakes, and he doesn't even capture the amazing Gene Hackman. He's just pretty legendary in his own role. So here's the question that would make a lot of people question me, because there are thousands of Superman actors, but only some can redeem the role of Superman. So I know what people are probably going to ask, and I'm going to answer this question. Is Dean Cain, or does Dean Cain capture my vision of Superman? Well, Dean Cain himself is an outsider because of his race, because of how he was born. So does Dean Cain capture my variation of Superman, like my very favorite version, the one that you can look up to, the one that you can be proud of? In fact, Dean Cain is that Superman for me. Dean Cain holds the role on his own, and in fact, he plays it with such a charm that it becomes legendary just while you're watching, and you can't help but smile at him. Dean Cain is an amazing legendary Superman in this series. While he can show off his own rights, he still has that charm that really goes, that's Superman to me. He reminds me so much of Tim Daly, and that is a compliment, not a complaint to his legendary performance. He is very great in the role, and in fact, I can look up to him as a good Superman. And in this role, Dean Cain shows that he is all for the people. He's all for the heart of the people. He wants truth and justice in the American way, but his version of it. So fans of Dean Cain can relax and try not to kill me like an angry Lois Lane, because I really do love Dean Cain in the legendary role of Superman. Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman hits the mark for me for favorite Superman. Dean Cain was amazing in the performance. I loved Terry Hatcher as Lois Lane. And John Che, like I said, well, he's not quite there as my favorite Lex Luthor. There are a lot of moments where he really does shine at the inhumanity of Lex Luthor, especially making a Superman clone, which Lex Luthor always makes a Superman clone. For example, Superboy, Doomsday, Bizarro. So there's always a clone of Superman out there somewhere, thanks to Boy Luthor. While I only own the first season of this legendary series, I can definitely say that without a doubt that if you're a Superman fan, or if you want to get somebody into the Superman world, here's the best way to do it. And legendary writer Dan Levine worked on a lot of my favorite episodes and written a lot of my favorite episodes, including working with his wife, Deborah Joy Levine. So it is great to have these two working on this series. They're such a legendary performance in of itself. So for me, if you haven't seen it yet, I recommend that you do definitely check out Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman because it doesn't disappoint. Dean Cain is a legendary Superman. There are tons of great episodes, tons of amazing special guest cameos, and above all, it is one of the best Superman series ever to come out of history. So, guys, thank you so much for watching, and let me know who your favorite Superman is. Is it Dean Cain? Is it Tim Daly? Is it George Newbern? Is it the legendary Christopher Reeve? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'm always interested to hear what you guys have to say. Also, if you want to, tell me what your favorite comic incarnation of, like, who your favorite writer on Superman is in the comment section down below. My favorite writer at the moment is Grant Morrison from the JLA. He really knows how to write a pretty damn good Superman, in my opinion. So, but that's just me. So let me know who your favorite Superman is in the comments down below. Coming soon, I think that we're going to take a trip to Japan, as I'm going to check out a King Kong movie that I've never seen before, but I think it's really worth reviewing since Godzilla and Kong sequel is coming out next month. No, it's not my review of Godzilla vs. Kong. I'm planning that for next year before the movie comes out. I'm hoping that I can, or by the time that the movie comes out. So join me next week as I'm going to be taking a look at a legendary King Kong film. So thank you so much for watching. I'm Grady Universe. I'm White and Nerdy. Keep geeking on. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me at Twitter with a link in the description down below. And I'll see you soon as I'm going to take a look at King Kong Escapes.